I think no one could have seen, even with the threats that Donald Trump made to our climate enterprise, how swiftly and holistically they would dismantle it. And I think it's really important to be real about that, because in the first Trump term, not only did he say he was going to take us out of the climate commitments internationally, he still kept many of the staff. You know, the State Department was still kind of plugging along. They still went to COP. There were still federal agencies doing resilience work. But over the last 9 months, we have seen the complete and total dismantling. Not only did he take us out of international agreements, he's using tariff negotiations to try to push other countries to either purchase American fossil fuels or to themselves pull out of international agreements. So he's not only taken the United States out, he's trying to sabotage global climate action. In addition to that, obviously, they've done everything they can to dismantle the signature legislation that we put into effect over the last several cycles, including the Inflation Reduction Act, which was the largest climate and clean energy bill, not only in the history of the United States, but in the history of any country on planet Earth ever, and the CHIPS and Science Act, and the bipartisan infrastructure bill, and of course a whole slew of executive orders that are aimed at gutting climate programs. Now, I'm not saying all of this to depress you. It is quite depressing, but because I believe that you have to be realistic about the moment that you face to be an effective strategist to battle the forces that are trying to take us backwards. And so while I am proud to be a sponsor of the Polluter Pay Bill, I believe that we have to really break down the challenge in front of us in 3 parts. In the short term, we know what the battlefield looks like. It means we're going to have to fight like hell at the national level using the courts and other systems to try to preserve what we can of our climate enterprise. But the good news is that the private and the nonprofit sectors are still here. You guys are still here doing the work. And there is a whole slew, a whole new generation of climate leaders now serving in Congress who've been elected since 2018 who are not going back. And there's a whole slew of amazing climate leaders serving in every legislature across the United States who are not going back. And so while the Donald Trump administration is trying to drag us back 30 years, whether that's in climate change or civil rights or LGBTQ rights, we are not going to let them. We are going to keep doing the work, showing up, fighting back, and imagining what we will build when this nightmare is over. So that takes me to the second part of the 3-part strategy. The reality, the cold, stone cold political reality is we have to take back the House next year. We have to. But I want to say that who you are and who serves matters. You are never going to convince some crusty old climate denier to be a climate champion. We tried that. We tried it for 30 years. It's not going to happen. What we need to do right now in this moment is recruit pro-climate candidates for every public office we can across the United States. And then we need to go knock on every door and make sure they get elected so that when we take back power, we have the possibility of passing game-changing legislation at the national and state and local levels. And at the state level, we have the opportunity to pass massive legislation. After our last governor left office, within days, our current governor signed the first executive order creating climate action in the state of New Mexico. Within a month, we sponsored major climate legislation. Within 2 months, we passed a zero carbon standard energy transition act for New Mexico, and within 2 years, we passed the most forward-leaning grid modernization bill in the United States on a completely bipartisan basis. That is what is possible if you have climate leadership at the local level. And so even though we're looking at a national arena that feels hopeless and that makes us feel disempowered and helpless, our states are the classrooms of innovation, and all of the things that we're going to see fruit because of the work of the people surrounding me here on this stage is what we will carry back with us when we are back and able to pass meaningful legislation. So that takes me to the third part, which is the long term. I never miss an opportunity to counter lobby the public. And that is this. We need a Project 2029. I don't care what you call it. I don't care how you brand it. But when we come back into the White House with a pro-climate president, it's not going to be some duct tape Clean Air Act. It's got to be a smart, strategic, comprehensive vision for protecting the planet and conserving the bounty of our natural resources. It will be time to innovate, to create new structures, new laws, new ways of doing business, and make sure that our country, our nation, our democracy, which we will save, by the way, is prepared for the next decade and the next century, and that we have put into motion and into place the ideas that are big enough and worthy enough to actually fight for. And so that's where all of you come in. You are the people who are going to imagine those ideas. Those are going to spring from your minds, and we need you. Every day people ask me, what are Democrats going to do to save the planet and save the democracy? We're doing all the things we can, but what ultimately will save our democracy is the people. And we need people on the ground all across this country, not just fighting and showing up and marching and doing all the things. We need your creativity. We need your big ideas. We need your imaginations. We need the innovation that has fueled what the United States is to come to bear, so that when we come back in power, we catapult this country forward and take real and meaningful climate action. And that is exactly what you all are going to do.